was going to say 900 right here on the glove box. They really look the same.
Yeah.
So you go from a 2-cylinder 50 horsepower motor to a 3-cylinder 82 horsepower motor. So there's plenty more horsepower. But you also get the addition of different modes. Now you have a regular, an eco, or a sport mode. And what sport mode does is takes off the traction control so you can play around with it a little bit more aggressively and drift it. The 900, when you get into the sport mode, just a side note, if you add the passenger seat and the passenger foot pegs, with the pegs in the down position, you cannot put it in sport mode. They won't allow you to drift it if you have a passenger on the back. It's got sensors under the seat that are wired in that it shorts out when the pegs are in the down position. So from the 900 base model, you go to the 900 Rally Edition. And the reality is the 900 Rally Edition is going to be probably your best-selling unit. It only costs $1,000 more. So you go from the 600 base at $84.99 to the 900 base at $99.99, and then you go to the Rally Edition for $10,999, $1,000 more. What do you get for that $1,000? You get a KYB adjustable rear shock with compression and preload adjustments on it with tightening up the spring. You get KYB front shocks. That shock alone sells for $800. So it's really, there's a lot of the value right there. You get a $300 max mount plate. You get brush guards here. You get stone deflectors down on the side. You get more aggressive wheels and tires, more for off-road applications. And you also get the addition of a rally mode, which does kind of the same thing as sport mode. It takes off the traction control, but it delivers power and higher RPMs for off-road applications. So it's just a little bit more aggressive even than the regular sport mode. So all of that for $1,000 more money or $20 more a month or so. It's really a good value for the customer to step up to this. So those are the differences between them. Let's talk about some of the basic similarities. They all weigh about 600 pounds, a little bit under for the 600cc, a little bit over for the Rally Edition, of course, because of the additional hardware. And you have a carrying capacity of about 450 pounds for any of them. So driver, passenger, and cargo of about 450 pounds. I've been asked a lot about miles per gallon. I've had 4 of these since October, my demo units, so I buzz around the mountains. You know, the reality is that just like a side-by-side or some sort of an ATV, when it runs low, you just fill it up. It's that much fun where you're not concerned about the miles per gallon. But if you should get asked about it, they get about 30 to 35, you know, if you're in eco mode and not in sport mode or rally mode all the time and on the gas. That'll, of course, drive it down to probably the mid-20s or so. But it's just a lot of fun where you're not concerned about that. So you change the modes by... You activate everything and then just holding in here, it puts it in sport mode, and you see that will clear and the sport mode stays on there. If you hold it again, it goes into rally mode. That'll clear and it'll just show the traction control signal there. Again, hold it in again, that's eco mode, and then eco off. All right, now that you change by holding in here. If you touch it, it goes into settings. And autonomy is one of the more unusual settings that people have a hard time with. Autonomy tells you how far you can go on the remaining fuel that's in there. All right? Even the owner's manual says autonomy kilometers and miles. It doesn't give you a whole lot of description. That's what it is. Okay? You can go into the settings where you can change the miles to kilometers, RPMs, and fuel stats. It tells you what your fuel economy is. So that's just by touching it. Holding it in is how you change it. You can change the modes on the fly. So if you're going down the road and you decide you want to go into economy mode, you can hold it in and change the mode. We have 5.3 gallons of fuel with a capless tank. Underneath this panel, we have a funnel. So we all like using those new OSHA-approved fuel cans where you have to collapse the nozzles, right? Oh, I hate those. Yeah, that's what this is there for. Okay. And that's every car or every vehicle in the U.S. that has a capless tank has one of those somewhere on it. It's stuffed right underneath the panel here. I like to use this when I'm filling it up at the gas station because it keeps it from splashing up once it does get full, but it's not needed.
This is in, no matter the model, 600, 900, okay, no matter
Every
the model.
vehicle has this.
Okay.
It's kept right under there. Also under this panel is the filter for the CVT transmission and your oil dipstick.
Okay.
This is a tire pressure label. The tire pressure on this is 25 psi's in the front, 28 to 30 on the back. That's different from a Spider. Spider is 17 plus or minus 2 on the front. The reason that's different is the one feature this doesn't have that the Spider has is power steering. It has all the same VSS system, vehicle stability control, but it does not have power steering. And the reality is, at 300 pounds lighter than the F3S and the lower seat height, it's really not needed. You don't miss it. So, 25 psi's in the front, 28 to 30 on the back. This is also the safety card information. And as you know, on the Spiders, you have to press a mode button to say you acknowledge that you've read the safety card. On the Ryker, you just turn the throttle that way before you start it. It does the same thing as pressing the mode button.
Okay.
So the first service on the Ryker gets done at 3,000 miles. Then it gets serviced every 6,000 miles. And it has a 200-mile break-in period. In other words, for the first 200 miles, don't stay at one steady speed, vary the RPMs, get off it, let it cool completely down, don't go wide open, that sort of thing.
That's only 200 miles?
200 miles. But at 3,000 miles is when it gets its first service.
Okay. And then 6,000 miles after that?
Correct. Now, every motorcycle is going to come with a screwdriver. Yours is probably in the toolkit at a different location. That screwdriver is specifically for this, and we need to tell the customer.
Marine Park 19, Marine Park 19.
If this gets adjusted a lot, this screw will have tendency to loosen up, and there won't be any tension on the lock. So what you've got to do is make sure that that screw, is adjusted correctly, that when you push down on this, there's tension. Okay? And that'll make sure it's secure. And you have to tell the customers about that, of course, as well. You have the typical DSS key that we use in many of our products. The difference from this key versus other keys, you can program multiple BRP components off of this one key. If they have a side-by-side or a C-do that takes this type of key, you can program it all to run off of this key. You cannot program this as a learning key. They don't want you programming something that's down on power that's street legal, like you can with a watercraft. You put a learner key on it.
Yeah.
You cannot program this as a learner key.
Okay, now it comes with a learner key though, doesn't it?
Does not.
Okay, I was thinking it came with a green key too.
No. Other vehicles do. That's your learner key. This does not. They won't let you use program this or use a learner key because it's street legal. You don't want something on the road down on power. You need to be able to accelerate to safe speeds.
Okay, makes sense.
One other thing different about this is on the side-by-sides, when this key comes off, the engine shuts off. Right? That's not true with the Ryker. With the Ryker, you're concerned with knocking this off with your knee. So after it starts, you could take this off and put it up here and it'll keep running. Okay. Once you turn it off, you're going to have to put it back on there to start it, but it'll run without it. And as soon as that's taken off, it'll show a warning here that says check your ignition. Okay? So, but it does come off. The front storage compartment, you have 7 liters of storage with 2 USB ports for charging phones, right up in the front here.
All right.
So you can plug those in and keep your cell phones charged up. That's right up underneath in there. Okay. On this side here is also your park brake. That's park brake off. That's park brake on.
Do that one more time.
That's park brake off and park brake on. And just like the Spider, if you turn it off with the park brake not engaged, it's going to sound an alarm at you. Okay? You'll see this little knockout that's right here. In other countries, we were required to put a key lock on that to keep that park brake locked on and off, and that's what that cutout is for. Your parts department has a part number for that. It's only about $20 or $25, so if you have customers that are interested in that, it's an inexpensive addition. They can add it. And what that'll do is that'll keep the park brake where you cannot take it off, which means someone can't take it off and the bike will roll and they can't go away with your motorcycle.
Yeah.
And also kind of a safety feature, right?
Makes
So
sense.
that's what that's there for. This is forward and this is reverse. You can do that with your foot or you can do it with your hand before you even get on it if it's short. One thing you'll notice, it has the CVT belt, so you can roll it and the belt grabs a little bit, right? For here on the showroom or back on the service department, if you take this and put it right in between, watch what happens now. Now it'll roll and it's like a false neutral. The belt doesn't grab at all. So it makes it easier to move around on the showroom or in the back.
So that's between
between forward and reverse, right.
Okay,
Okay? But when you're done, you want to stick it in forward or reverse.
okay.
Okay? Part of the U-fit system is also, you can lift up on your foot pegs and slide down wherever you want, and then lock them back down for different seating positions or shorter or taller people. It's hard to see, but there's marks all along here that are on both sides, so that you can make sure that when you get on, they're both in the same place rather than one peg here and one peg back. All right? Now, on this side, if I were to take my foot peg and move it back, now all of a sudden my brake pedal is not comfortable for the position on my foot. So that's adjustable as well, the foot brake is.
It's a little harder to maneuver than this side.
It is, and if you hold up on the master cylinder, come here and I'll show you. It's hard, but if you push up on the master cylinder here, it takes a weight off of it
Okay.
and moves easier. Okay?
Yeah. That's
So.
a good trick.
The brake pedal gets adjusted, you pull it out, find another notch, and let it slide back in. And I need you to check these with every one. I've seen a couple of them that also the springs, they haven't had the spring tension that'll pull it back in. So when you sell any of them and you're showing this to the customer, make sure that that spring pulls it back in like that.
Okay, and explain to me why that's moving.
I'm changing the adjustment here. Let's say, okay, it's up like that, and I put it back.
Okay.
Now it's not comfortable for my foot. I really want it down here.
Look,
Right.
come here, look at it.
So,
I knew to adjust it this way.
yeah. So now I want it down lower, I take it down to the next notch lower.
Okay.
Now, what you have to tell your customers as well is that if it's, let's say it's right here and it didn't fall back into one of those notches,
Okay.
if I try and jam this down, it's going to wedge this and it's going to be stuck.
Okay.
Then you got to get a big pry bar and pry it out. So make sure they know that, adjust it till it goes into a notch, then you lock this down.
All he's doing here,
Yeah, I see that.
he's not adjusting forward or backwards, but you can adjust this. If you want that brake pedal down here lower for you prefer your toe to be extended out. Now, that was something that I didn't know. Or if you wanted it higher,
Right.
you could do it here.
So, and
And
if
he
it's,
showed that picking up on that makes it
see, if
way
you lift
easier
up
to
on the
adjust.
master cylinder, that slides a lot easier. Okay? So I get it to the position I want, and then I just lock it down in. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So, you'll notice that there's one nut holding each of the wheels on.
I did notice that.
That's a 65 millimeter nut that's torqued down to 225 foot-pounds. Your average customer is not going to be taking these wheels and bringing them to you, right? Not too many customers have a 65 millimeter socket or a 225 foot-pound torque wrench. But just so you know, if you look on the inside right here, in the inner race, there's a notch here, okay? What you do is you rotate the wheel or rotate the bike until that notch lines up with these two holes, and you slide a pin through it, and that locks the wheel down so you can break that nut loose and torque it down correctly.
Okay.
Okay. Another thing that you need to notice is that on the Spyders we have an ABS ring, which is real common for any bike with ABS, right? That's not on this. The ABS sensors are internally built on the hub. That's what these wires are going to. So it still has ABS, even though it doesn't have that big ABS ring, which is exposed and can get damaged a lot. Okay. You remove the hood by lifting up on these two tabs and sliding it forward. Okay, it's not on rubber grommets where you lift it up like this, so you have to slide it forward. Underneath the hood, you have your battery, your fuse box, the plug-in for the computers, so your technicians can work on it, and then also your fuel filter is there. You have the VIN number on a label right here on this part of the frame.
Okay.
You also have the VIN number underneath the seat. And if your insurance company or your floor checker needs to see something other than a label, they have to get down here with a flashlight and look right up under there. It's stamped into that part of the frame.
Okay.
Okay, but label-wise, if it's okay, it's here and it's under the seat. Okay. On Spyders, it's real difficult to get to the spark plugs and change those. It requires the technicians hours of time because they have to remove all the plastics and things like that. The Ryker is designed with just a few bolts. You can take it and lift the whole top of the body up, exposing the whole motor and the back of the CVT. The factory warranty on the bike is 1 year with 1 year of roadside assistance. If the customer gets the extended warranty, the roadside assistance follows it. So during the winter, a lot of times up here, we offer free extended warranties and things like that because, you know, there's not a lot of purchasing done in the winter, so it's kind of to incentivize them. And just know that the roadside assistance follows the factory warranty when they get our extended warranty.
Okay, so you say follow, so you get 1 year warranty and 1 year roadside assistance?
Yes, and if they buy the best extended warranty, the roadside follows it. In other words, if they purchase a
So as
2
long
or
as
3
they've
year
got,
warranty.
they've got roadside.
Sorry?
So as long as they've got warranty, they've got roadside for the
Our
same
warranty,
amount
if
of
they
time.
purchase another aftermarket warranty other than ours, it won't follow it.
Right.